The council chamber floated in the darkness of space, a massive structure that had witnessed 10,000 years of galactic politics. Today, the chamber buzzed with tension that made the air feel thick and heavy. Representatives from 40 different species sat in their designated seats, waiting for the session to begin. Ambassador Lisa stood near the viewing window, watching the stars beyond. She had served as Earth's representative for 3 years now, and never had she seen the council this nervous. Something big was happening, and nobody had bothered to tell the humans about it. The great doors opened with a sound like thunder. Matriarch entered the chamber, her ancient body moving slowly but with purpose. The elder was over 3,000 years old, one of the few beings alive who remembered the time before the current galactic order. When she spoke, everyone listened. "We are gathered here because of a great danger," said, her voice carrying across the silent chamber. "The Empire moves toward the Sol system. They plan to take human territory by force." Lisa felt her heart jump. She stepped forward. Why would they attack us? We've done nothing to provoke them." A harsh laugh echoed through the chamber. Commander of the stood up, his massive frame covered in dark armor that gleamed under the lights. "Humans are weak. Your colonies sit on valuable resources. We will take what we want. You will move or you will die." The other council members shifted in their seats. Some looked away. Others whispered among themselves. Nobody stood up to defend humanity. Lisa felt anger rising in her chest. The council allows this. You'll let them invade a sovereign territory without cause. Raised one aged hand. "I call this session not to stop but to warn them. There are old stories, Commander, stories that species like yours have forgotten. Stories about Earth and its people." Laughed again. "Stories, fairy tales for children. I care nothing for your ancient superstitions, old one." "Then you are a fool," said quietly. The chamber went completely silent. "Long ago, before your empire existed, before most of these species had left their home worlds, the precursors walked among the stars. They were the first great civilization, and they explored every corner of the galaxy." Lisa had heard of the precursors. Everyone had. They had vanished millions of years ago, leaving behind only ruins and warnings. Continued. "The precursors left records, warnings carved in stone that would last forever. Most of these warnings spoke of natural dangers, black holes, unstable stars, regions of space that would kill anyone who entered. But there was one warning different from all the others." The matriarch pulled up a holographic display. Ancient symbols appeared in the air, glowing with a soft blue light. "This was found on a precursor outpost at the edge of your territory, Commander. The translation is simple and clear. It says, 'Never provoke the humans. They do not forgive. They do not forget. They do not stop.'" Snorted, "Ridiculous. Humans are barely capable of faster-than-light travel. They have no great fleets, no powerful weapons. They are primitives who got lucky and found old technology." "You think technology makes a species dangerous?" asked. "The precursors had technology beyond anything we possess today, yet they feared humanity enough to leave a warning that would last for millions of years." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. She had never heard this story before. Why would an ancient species fear humans? Dr. Emma Grant, a human scientist who studied alien cultures at the station, pushed her way through the crowd. "Matriarch, please, what else did the precursors say? There must be more to the warning." Looked at the young human woman with sad eyes. "The rest of the text is damaged, but we know the precursors encountered your ancestors long ago, before humans built cities, before they had any technology at all, and something about that meeting made the precursors leave their warning." "This is waste of time," growled. "I did not come here to listen to ghost stories. I came to deliver an ultimatum." He pointed at Lisa. "You have 1 week. Remove your people from the outer colonies. Everything beyond the Mars orbital stations belongs to the Empire now. Refuse, and we will remove you ourselves." Lisa felt her hands clench into fists. "We will not abandon our people. Those colonies have families, children. You have no right to them." "I have the right of strength," said. "My fleets are already moving into position. 1 week human, then you will see what happens to those who stand in the way of the Empire." The commander turned and left the chamber. Half the council members left with him, not wanting to be involved in what was coming. Lisa stood there, shaking with anger and fear. She had to contact Earth immediately. The government needed to know about this threat. Approached her slowly. "Ambassador, I am sorry. The council is weak. They will not help you." Then Earth will stand alone, Lisa said. We've done it before. That is what I fear, the old matriarch whispered. Do you know anything about your own history, child? Do you know what your species is capable of? Lisa looked at her confused. We're survivors. Earth is a difficult world. We had to fight for everything. A difficult world? Repeated. Yes, the precursors called it something else. They called it a death world. A planet so hostile that only the strongest, most adaptable, most stubborn species could possibly survive there. And humanity did more than survive. You thrived. Emma spoke up. Matriarch, I've studied the precursor sites for years. I've never seen this warning. Where can I find it? Station Archives, Section 42, Restricted Access. I am granting you permission to read everything we have. Looked at both humans. Learn quickly, because Commander has already made his first mistake. He has given humanity a deadline, and when you give humans time, they prepare. The next day, Lisa received the message she had been dreading. A battle fleet had jumped into human space near the research colony of New Hope. They had not bothered with warnings or negotiations. They simply opened fire. New Hope was home to 3,000 people, scientists, engineers, families who had moved there to build a better future far from Earth's crowded cities. They destroyed the entire station in less than an hour. Lisa watched the footage with tears running down her face. She saw the station breaking apart, saw the emergency pods launching, trying to escape, saw the ships hunting them down and destroying them one by one. Emma stood beside her, her face pale with shock. They killed everyone, even the children. Yes, Lisa said, her voice shaking. They killed our children. She pulled up the communication system and sent an encrypted message to Earth. The message was simple. New Hope destroyed, 3,000 dead. They have started a war. Far away on Earth, in the military command center, Admiral Peter Hayes received the message. He watched the footage of New Hope's destruction 3 times. Then he stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the blue planet below. Get me the president, he said quietly, and activate War Protocol Omega. They wanted to see what happens when you provoke humanity. Now they're going to learn. In her small apartment on the station, Emma worked through the night, reading every file had given her access to. The precursor records were fragmentary and difficult to understand, but slowly a picture began to form. The precursors had met humans 200,000 years ago. Primitive humans with stone tools, the emergency broadcast reached every human settlement across the Sol system at the same time. People stopped what they were doing and watched the screens as Admiral Peter Hayes appeared, his face grim and tired. Citizens of Earth and her colonies, he began, his voice steady despite the weight of his words. 24 hours ago, the Empire attacked our research colony at New Hope. They gave no warning. They accepted no surrender. 3,000 of our people are dead. Among them were 237 children. The camera shifted to show footage from New Hope's final moments. Parents pushing their children into escape pods. Scientists trying to send a last distress call. The ships firing again and again until nothing remained but debris and bodies. People across Earth watched in silence. In homes and offices, on streets and in schools, millions of humans saw what had been done to their own. They have issued an ultimatum, Hayes continued. They demand we abandon our outer colonies. They believe we will run because we are weak. They believe we will surrender because we are few. He paused. They are wrong. The Admiral's expression hardened. As of this moment, Earth is at war. Every colony, every station, every ship. War Protocol Omega is now active. We will show the galaxy what humanity does to those who murder our children. The broadcast ended. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then the sirens began. In the military command center deep beneath Geneva, Hayes met with his senior staff. Captain Jake stood among them, his uniform still showing damage from a recent patrol mission. Lieutenant Park worked at a tactical display, pulling up data on fleet movements. Show me what we're facing, Hayes said. Brought up a star map. Red markers indicated forces. There were hundreds of them. Sir, the Empire controls 40 star systems. They have over 300 capital ships and thousands of support vessels. Intelligence suggests they're mobilizing 80% of their fleet toward our territory. And our forces? Hayes asked, though he already knew the answer. We have 32 capital ships spread across 6 colonies, maybe twice that in patrol craft and defense platforms. We're outnumbered at least 10 to 1. The other officers looked worried. but Hayes smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. Good, they think numbers matter. They think this will be easy. Doctor entered the room carrying a data pad. The historian was 70 years old and had spent his entire life studying human warfare. Admiral, you asked me to prepare a report on human military history. Give us the summary, Doctor. Pulled up images on the main screen. Ancient battles, medieval sieges, world wars. Humanity has been fighting for our entire existence. We fought with sticks and stones, with swords and spears, with guns and bombs and nuclear weapons. We fought each other for thousands of years, and every single conflict taught us something new. He changed the display to show Earth itself. Deserts, frozen tundra, deep jungles, mountain peaks. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every single day. Predators, disease, extreme weather, food scarcity. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world. The is Class 3. Most of their empire consists of Class 1 and Class 2 worlds. What does that mean? Asked. It means they don't understand hardship, said. They don't know what it's like to fight for survival against impossible odds. They've never had to adapt or die, but we have. For 200,000 years, that's all we've done. Hayes nodded. They think this is about territory and resources. They think we'll negotiate once they show their strength. But they killed our children. They crossed a line that can never be uncrossed. Sir, we can't win a straight fight, one of the officers said. Their technology is better. Their ships are bigger. Even with our training advantage, the numbers are just too great. Then we don't fight straight, Hayes replied. We fight the way humans have always fought when we're outnumbered. We adapt. We improvise. We find every weakness and exploit it. We make them afraid to close their eyes at night. Representative Helen arrived from the civilian government. Admiral, the President has authorized full military mobilization. Every shipyard is being converted to military production. Every factory is retooling. Every able person is being called to service. How long before we have new ships? Hayes asked. 6 months for the first wave, but we're not waiting. We're going to use everything we have right now. She pulled up manufacturing reports. We're building weapons that have never seen, missiles that can think, mines that can hide, drones that can swarm. We're going to turn our technological disadvantage into an advantage by thinking differently. Back on the station, Lisa received an urgent message from Captain Jake. His small fleet had been ordered to confront and attempt one last diplomatic solution. She knew it was futile, but she had to try. Captain, please be careful, she said over the secure channel. They aren't interested in peace. Jake's face appeared on the screen. He was young for a captain, only 32, but his eyes showed the weight of command. I know, Ambassador, but we have to try. Maybe if they see we're willing to talk, they'll reconsider. And if they won't? Then we make them reconsider, Jake said quietly. New Hope had families, Ambassador, kids who were just learning to walk, scientists who were trying to cure diseases, artists who were creating beautiful things. They took all of that away in an hour. The communication ended. Lisa sat in her office, feeling helpless. She had dedicated her career to diplomacy, to finding peaceful solutions. But how could you negotiate with someone who opened fire without warning? Emma burst into the office, her eyes wide with excitement and horror. Lisa, you need to see this. I found more precursor records. She pulled up holographic displays showing ancient text and images. The precursors encountered humans 200,000 years ago. At that time, humanity was barely surviving. Ice ages, megafauna predators, climate shifts. The precursors watched a small group of humans being hunted by a predator that outweighed them 10 to 1. What happened? Lisa asked. The humans didn't run. They didn't hide. They tracked that predator for 3 days across frozen wasteland. When it was exhausted and couldn't run anymore, they killed it with simple spears. Then they did something the precursors had never seen before. What? They thanked it. They held a ceremony honoring the animal for providing food and fur to help them survive. The precursors realized that humans understood death intimately. They could kill without hatred and honor their enemies even in victory. Emma pulled up another image. But then the precursors made a mistake. They revealed themselves to a different human tribe. They wanted to study humanity more closely. That tribe saw the precursors as a threat, and for the next 6 months, those humans hunted the precursor research team across 3 continents. Lisa stared at the ancient text. Did they catch them? Yes, the precursors had technology that could have killed every human on Earth. But they didn't use it because they were scientists, not soldiers. The humans had nothing but stone weapons and determination. It didn't matter. The humans won because they simply would not stop. They tracked the precursors through deserts, over mountains, across oceans. When the precursors ran, the humans followed. When the precursors hid, the humans found them. How did it end? The precursor team finally escaped off-planet, but they left the warning, because they realized something terrifying. Humanity's greatest weapon isn't technology or strength, it's persistence. Give humans a goal and they will pursue it until they achieve it or die trying. And when you kill their children, you give them a goal that will never end until every threat is eliminated. Far away in the outer colonies, Jake's small fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the staging area. 5 human ships against 40 warships. Park ran the tactical analysis and shook his head. "Captain, this is suicide. They have us surrounded." "I know," Jake said. "Open a channel to the commander." The screen flickered. Commander appeared, his expression amused. "Little humans, you come to surrender." "We come to give you one chance," Jake said. "Leave our space. Return to your territory. We will forget this happened." Laughed, a harsh sound that made the bridge crew flinch. "You forget. You are about to die, human. Your pathetic fleet will be destroyed. Then we will take your colonies one by one. Your people will be slaves or corpses. You choose." "You killed 3,000 innocent people," Jake said, his voice cold. 237 of them were children. This is your last warning. Leave now or face the consequences." "Consequences?" Some amusement faded. "You dare threaten me? You have 5 ships. I have 40. I will show you what happens to species who challenge the Empire." The communication cut off. Alarms blared across Jake's bridge as the fleet opened fire. "All ships evasive maneuvers," Jake ordered. "Return fire, make every shot count." The battle lasted less than 10 minutes. The human ships fought bravely, their crews showing skill and courage that surprised even but numbers and firepower won out. One by one, the human ships took damage. Life support failed. Weapons went offline. Crew members died at their posts. Jake's ship, the USS Defender, took a direct hit to the engine room. The ship lurched, alarms screaming, worked desperately to restore power while fires burned through the lower decks. "Captain, we've lost main power," reported. "Life support is failing. Hull breaches on decks 4 through 7. We have maybe 10 minutes before total systems failure." Jake looked around his bridge. Half his crew was dead. The others were wounded but still trying to save the ship. He thought about the people at New Hope, about the children who had died screaming, about Earth and everyone he loved. He pulled up the communication system one last time, broadcasting on all channels. His words would reach Earth, the colonies, the council station, and every ship in the area. "This is Captain Jake of the USS Defender. To anyone listening, remember this moment. Remember what they did. They wanted a war. They thought we were weak. Now they'll learn what humans do to those who murder our children. We're coming for you, all of us, and we won't stop until your empire is dust." The transmission ended. The fleet moved in to finish off the dying human ships. On Earth, Admiral Hayes received Jake's final message. He watched the young captain's face on the screen, saw the determination in his eyes even as death approached. The Admiral stood before the War Council. "Ladies, they just made their second mistake. They let our people send a message home. Now every human in the Sol system knows exactly who our enemy is and what they're capable of. They wanted to intimidate us. Instead, they gave us purpose." He pulled up fleet deployments. "We have 28 ships ready for immediate deployment. I want them in space within 48 hours. No mercy, no quarter, no retreat. Show them what humanity is capable of when we're properly motivated." The transformation happened overnight. Anyone watching Earth from space would have seen it. Civilian vessels suddenly changed course, heading toward military installations. Factories went dark for 12 hours, then lit up again with new purpose. Cargo ships that had carried food and consumer goods were refitted with weapons and armor plating. Captain Rachel Turner stood on the bridge of the USS Valiant, a ship that officially did not exist. For 15 years, Earth's military had been building experimental vessels in secret, preparing for the day when humanity would face a superior alien force. That day had come. "Status report," Rachel ordered. Engineer Sam looked up from his console. "All systems are online, Captain. Weapons charged. Stealth systems operational. The ship is ready." Rachel nodded. The Valiant was humanity's ace in the hole. While they thought they knew Earth's military capabilities, they had no idea about ships like this. Vessels designed not for honorable combat, but for ruthless efficiency. "Take us out," she said. "Plot a course for the staging area, maximum stealth." The Valiant slipped away from Earth's moon, its hull absorbing sensor waves instead of reflecting them. To any scanner, the ship simply did not exist. In orbit around Mars, Colonel Foster addressed her Marines. 2,000 men and women in combat armor, their faces hard with determination. These were volunteers, every single one. When the call went out for ground forces willing to fight in alien territory, 50,000 people had applied, had chosen the best. "Listen up," she said, her voice carrying across the hangar. "They think they know how to fight. They've conquered 12 species in the last 1,000 years. They have rules, codes of honor, predictable tactics." She paused. "We don't." Private Danny Cole stood near the back, trying to steady his breathing. He was 19 years old and had never been in combat, but his sister had been on New Hope. Little Amy, who was 7 and loved to draw pictures of stars. They had killed her, and Danny was going to make them pay. "The fight in the daylight," continued. "We'll fight at night. They hold territory. We'll strike and vanish. They follow rules. We'll rewrite the rules." She looked across her assembled troops. "They killed our children, so we're going to show them what happens when you give humanity a reason to be creative." On the council station, Lisa worked with Matriarch to gather intelligence. The Old had access to networks that spanned the galaxy, and she was using all of them to help humanity. "They have divided their fleet," explained, showing Lisa a tactical display. "They believe the war is already won. Commander has taken 80 ships to secure the outer colonies. The rest are protecting their supply lines and home territory." "What about their defenses?" Lisa asked. "Standard doctrine, energy shields, point defense systems, heavy armor. They're designed to fight other species who use similar technology." The matriarch smiled, a strange expression on her alien features. "They're not designed to fight humans." Emma rushed into the room carrying a data pad. "I found something. The precursors didn't just warn against provoking humanity. They documented why." She pulled up ancient video footage, somehow preserved across millions of years. It showed early humans hunting, not just hunting for food, but hunting with purpose, tracking, planning, working together with a coordination that seemed almost telepathic. "Most species hunt for survival," Emma explained. "Humans hunt for sport, for challenge, for revenge. The precursors realized that humanity doesn't just kill threats. We pursue them, we study them, we learn their weaknesses, and then we exploit those weaknesses with precision." The video showed humans tracking a large predator across difficult terrain. Days passed. The humans never stopped. When the predator hid, they found it. When it ran, they followed. When it fought, they adapted. Eventually, inevitably, the humans won. "That's our advantage," Lisa said quietly. "We don't give up." "More than that," added. "You improvise. Every species in the galaxy follows patterns. Predators use ambush. Prey animals use speed. Hive minds use numbers, but humans use everything. You adapt to any situation and find a way to win." The first strike came 3 days later. The fleet guarding a supply depot detected nothing until missiles appeared from nowhere and destroyed half their ships in the opening salvo. The Valiant had fired from a position the thought was empty space, using weapons that didn't show up on conventional scanners. Rachel watched the tactical display as confusion spread through the enemy fleet. "Fire again, target their command ship." More missiles launched. These were different from standard galactic weapons. Instead of simple explosives, they carried adaptive AI that could change course, avoid defenses, and choose optimal impact points. 3 missiles got through the shields and struck the command ship's bridge. "Withdraw," Rachel ordered. "Maximum stealth, let them wonder what hit them." The Valiant vanished as quickly as it had appeared. The fleet sent out search parties but found nothing. Their sensors showed empty space. Their scanners detected no engine signatures. The human ship was simply gone. Commander received the report with growing anger. "How is this possible? Our technology is superior. Our sensors are the best in the galaxy." His tactical officer looked nervous. "Sir, the humans appear to be using some form of advanced stealth technology we've never encountered. Our sensors can't detect them." "Then upgrade the sensors, find them. I want that ship destroyed." But the Valiant wasn't alone. Over the next week, 5 more experimental human ships revealed themselves. Each one used different tactics. One deployed drone swarms that overwhelmed point defenses through sheer numbers. Another used long-range that fired projectiles at relativistic speeds, turning simple metal slugs into devastating weapons. A third hacked into communication networks and fed false information, causing ships to fire on each other. They had superior shields, better energy weapons, stronger armor. But humans had spent centuries fighting each other and learning every dirty trick, every psychological ploy, every tactical advantage that could turn a losing battle into a victory. Foster's Marines hit their first target on a supply world. The planet was lightly defended, considered safe because it was deep in territory. The garrison numbered 5,000 troops who had never faced real combat. The Marines arrived in the middle of the night, dropping from orbit in stealth pods that scattered across a 100-kilometer area. By the time sensors detected the landing, it was already too late. Danny Cole crouched in the darkness, his rifle ready. His squad had been assigned to take out a communication array. Around him, 8 other Marines moved silently through the alien landscape. Their armor made no sound. Their movements left no trace. The guards at the array were relaxed, talking among themselves about when the war would end. They never saw the humans coming. Danny's sergeant gave the signal. 9 shots fired simultaneously. 9 guards fell before any alarm could be raised. The Marines planted charges and were gone within 2 minutes. Across the planet, similar scenes played out. Communication arrays destroyed. Supply depots burned. Transport ships sabotaged. The garrison tried to respond, but they couldn't find their enemy. The humans struck from shadows, killed efficiently, and vanished before reinforcements arrived. By dawn, the planet was in chaos. The garrison commander sent desperate messages asking for help, but the humans had destroyed all the long-range communication equipment. They were cut off, isolated, and terrified. Regrouped her Marines at the extraction point. They had lost 3 people in the operation. They had lost over 200 and had seen their entire supply infrastructure collapse. "Good work," told her troops. "This is just the beginning. We're going to teach them what guerrilla warfare means." Back at the council station, representatives from 40 species watched the war with growing horror. The Empire, which had seemed invincible, was being systematically dismantled by a species they had dismissed as primitive. One council member, a diplomat named, spoke up. "The humans are violating every convention of warfare, attacking at night, using stealth technology, refusing to meet in open battle. This is not how civilized species fight." Turned her ancient eyes on him. "No, this is exactly how humans fight. They're not civilized by your standards, they're survivors, and they're showing you what survival means." Lisa stood before the council. "They murdered 3,000 of our people without warning. They gave no opportunity to surrender. They killed children who had done nothing wrong, and you're concerned that we're not fighting fair." "But the humans are winning," protested. "They have superior technology, greater numbers, more experience. How is this possible?" "Because humans don't fight with technology alone," Emma said, stepping forward. "We fight with creativity, with adaptation, with psychological warfare. We find what our enemy fears and we exploit it." She pulled up footage from the Supply World attack. "They fear the dark because their evolution favored daytime hunting, so we attack at night. They value honor and direct confrontation, so we use stealth and misdirection. They depend on communication and coordination, so we destroy their ability to talk to each other." The council watched in silence as more reports came in. A patrol fleet ambushed by human ships hiding in a nebula. A major shipyard sabotaged by human infiltrators who had somehow bypassed every security measure. An admiral who committed suicide after receiving a package containing pictures of his family on a message that humans could strike anywhere. Admiral Hayes appeared on the council's main screen, broadcasting from Earth. "Representatives of the galactic community, I want to make something clear. Humanity did not start this war. We sought peace. We offered diplomacy. They responded by killing our children." He paused, letting his words sink in. "Now you're watching as we dismantle their empire. You're shocked because we don't follow your rules, but we have our own rules and they're simple. Protect our people, honor our dead, and never ever forgive those who harm our children." The Admiral's expression hardened. They thought humanity was weak because we're small in number. They thought we were primitive because our technology is less advanced. They didn't understand that humans have been fighting for survival since before we could speak. We've faced predators, plagues, natural disasters, and each other. We've survived ice ages and asteroid impacts. And through all of it, we learned one fundamental truth. What truth? Asked, though he looked afraid of the answer. That survival isn't about being the strongest or the most advanced, Hayes said. It's about being the most adaptable, the most persistent, the most willing to do whatever it takes to protect your own. They wanted to test humanity's resolve. Now they're learning what that resolve means. The broadcast ended. The council chamber erupted in arguments. Some species called for intervention to stop the human advance. Others wanted to stay out of it entirely. Silenced them with a gesture. The elders warned against this. We knew what would happen if anyone provoked humanity. Now we're seeing the consequences. On the bridge of the Valiant, Rachel received new orders from Earth. The target was Commander's flagship. Intelligence indicated he was leading a fleet toward the last human colony in the disputed zone. Sam, can we take down their flagship? Rachel asked. The engineer ran calculations. It's heavily shielded and surrounded by escort vessels. A direct assault would be suicide. Then we don't assault directly, Rachel said with a smile. We think like humans, what's weakness? Sam pulled up psychological profiles. He's arrogant, believes in superiority. He thinks humans are beneath him. Perfect, then we'll use that against him. Rachel turned to her crew. Prepare a transmission. We're going to challenge Commander to single combat, ship against ship, his flagship against ours. He'll never accept, her tactical officer said. He will, Rachel countered, because refusing would make him look weak in front of his own people, and arrogant leaders can't stand looking weak. The message was sent. On his flagship read the human challenge and laughed. A single human ship daring to face his mighty vessel, it was insulting, humiliating, and he would make them pay for their audacity. Accept the challenge, he ordered. I will destroy this human captain myself and show the galaxy that the Empire cannot be intimidated. The two ships faced each other across empty space. Commander's flagship was massive, 3 times the size of the Valiant. Its weapons could reduce a planet to ash. Its shields could withstand sustained bombardment from an entire fleet. By every measure of conventional warfare, the human ship should have been hopelessly outmatched. Rachel Turner smiled. Conventional warfare was exactly what they were going to avoid. Sam's status on the special package, she asked. The engineer checked his readings. Ready to deploy, Captain, just give the word. Not yet, let him make the first move. On the flagship sat in his command chair with satisfaction. The human ship was tiny, insignificant. He would crush it and broadcast the footage across the galaxy. Everyone would see what happened to those who challenged the Empire. All weapons fire at will, ordered. Energy beams lanced across space. Missiles streaked toward the Valiant, enough firepower to destroy a dozen ships concentrated on one small target. The Valiant didn't dodge. It didn't raise shields. Instead, it deployed thousands of small objects that spread out in a cloud between the two ships. The weapons struck the cloud and chaos erupted. The missiles exploded prematurely. The energy beams scattered in 100 directions. The small objects were chaff, radar-reflective particles mixed with electronic countermeasures, a trick humans had used in atmospheric warfare for centuries. What is this? Roared. Clear that interference and fire again. But the cloud was already expanding, filling the space around both ships. Sensors went haywire. Targeting systems couldn't lock on. The crew worked frantically to recalibrate. Now, Sam, Rachel said calmly. The Valiant launched its real attack. Not energy weapons that could be seen and countered. Not missiles that showed up on scanners. Simple kinetic rounds. Chunks of metal accelerated to incredible speeds by magnetic rails. Old technology that humanity had perfected long before reaching the stars. The rounds tore through the shields like paper. The shields were designed to stop energy weapons and explosive missiles, not solid projectiles moving at a significant fraction of light speed. The flagship's hull cracked. Atmosphere vented into space. Ship shuddered under the impact. Impossible, gasped, gripping his command chair as his ship took damage. Return fire, all weapons, destroy them. But the Valiant was already moving, using the chaff cloud as cover. The weapons fired blindly, hitting nothing but empty space. Meanwhile, more kinetic rounds hammered the flagship from unexpected angles. Rachel watched her tactical display. Target their engine room. Let's see how mobile they are without propulsion. 3 more rounds struck precisely where she wanted. The flagship's engines flickered and died. The massive ship drifted, powerless. Broadcast on all channels, Rachel ordered. I want everyone watching this. Her face appeared on screens across both fleets and on the council station. This is Captain Rachel Turner of the USS Valiant. Commander, you killed 3,000 innocent humans. You thought we were weak, primitive, easy prey. She paused. You were wrong. This is not over, human, snarled through the communication link. You've damaged my ship, but I have an entire fleet. You cannot defeat us all. Watch me, Rachel said and cut the connection. The Valiant's next move shocked even the human observers. Instead of finishing off the flagship, it turned toward the fleet and accelerated. 1 ship against 40. Sam looked nervous. Captain, are you sure about this? The follow patterns, Rachel explained. They'll form a defensive sphere to protect their damaged flagship. They'll expect us to try breaking through, so we're going to do something they won't expect. The Valiant dove beneath the formation, rolled inverted, and launched every mine it carried. The mines were smart, equipped with AI that let them hide among debris and wait for optimal targets. The fleet moved to intercept, exactly as Rachel predicted. Their ships clustered together for mutual support, textbook defensive formation. Perfect for protecting against a traditional attack. Terrible for dealing with weapons that didn't care about formations. The mines activated. They didn't explode immediately. Instead, they attached themselves to hulls using magnetic clamps. 10 seconds later, they all detonated simultaneously. 20 ships took critical damage. Some lost weapons, others lost shields, 3 lost life support. The defensive formation collapsed into chaos as ships tried to help damaged companions while watching for more attacks. Human tricks, one captain spat. They fight without honor. They fight to win, observed from the council station where every species watched the battle. That's the difference. The fight for glory, humans fight for survival. The Valiant didn't press the attack, it vanishing once again into the void. The fleet was left with their crippled flagship and their damaged pride. On planets across territory, the civilian population watched the footage in disbelief. Their mighty empire was being beaten by a species they had been told was inferior. Fear began to spread. If humans could destroy their fleets in battle, what would stop them from attacking worlds? General led the ground invasion of a military base. His troops moved through the alien complex with practiced efficiency. They had trained for this, studying layouts of facilities from intelligence reports. 2 guards ahead, his point man whispered through the comm. Standard patrol pattern. Take them quietly, ordered. 2 shots, 2 bodies. The Marines moved forward. They had learned from Foster's success. Strike fast, strike silent. Leave the enemy confused and afraid. Dr. Sophie Martinez followed behind the main force, her medical kit ready. She was there to save lives, both human and... But right now, the base defenders were trying to kill her teammates, so she focused on keeping the Marines alive. Private Danny Cole moved through a corridor, his weapon ready. He had survived 4 operations now and was becoming a veteran. The fear was still there, but he had learned to use it, to let it sharpen his senses rather than cloud his judgment. A soldier appeared ahead. Danny fired without hesitation. The alien fell. Danny kept moving. Amy's face flashed through his mind, his little sister who would never draw another picture. He pushed the grief down and focused on the mission. The Marines captured the base in under 2 hours. The defenders fought bravely, but they were trained for conventional warfare. They expected frontal assault, artillery support, airstrikes. They got none of that. Instead, they faced small teams appearing from unexpected angles, using tactics that made no sense by their standards. When it was over, stood in the base's command center. Sophie was treating wounded soldiers, showing them mercy even though their empire had shown none to New Hope civilians. Why do you help us? One soldier asked her, confusion in his voice. We are your enemy. Sophie looked at him while bandaging his wounds. You're a soldier following orders. The people who killed our children made the choice to start this war. You're just fighting in it. I won't let anyone die if I can help it, regardless of which side they're on. The soldier stared at her, trying to understand this human contradiction. Ruthless in battle, compassionate in victory. His entire understanding of warfare was being challenged. Across the galaxy, the tide had turned completely. In 3 months, humanity had done what should have been impossible. They had pushed back an empire that had stood for 10,000 years. Military bases were captured or destroyed. Supply lines were cut. Fleets were scattered. On the council station, representatives met in emergency session. The question on everyone's mind was simple but terrifying. Would humans stop at defeating or would they keep going until the entire empire was destroyed? Lisa stood before the council. Humanity wants peace, not conquest. We never asked for this war. Then call off your attacks, pleaded. They are beaten. They're ready to surrender. Are they? Lisa asked. Because from what we've seen, they're still fighting, still trying to regroup, still planning their next attack. As if to prove her point, a message arrived. Ships had attacked another human colony, this time targeting civilians specifically. 200 dead in a bombing raid that served no military purpose. Lisa's face hardened. They killed more of our people, deliberately targeted non-combatants, and you ask us to show mercy. Emma pulled up casualty reports. They have killed over 5,000 human civilians. New Hope, colony ships, now this bombing. They're not fighting soldiers. They're trying to terrorize us into surrender. Spoke quietly. The leadership is desperate. They know they're losing, so they're lashing out, hoping to hurt humanity enough that you'll agree to peace terms. They don't understand us at all, Lisa said. Every attack makes us more determined. Every civilian death strengthens our resolve. They think terror will break us. But humans don't break. We bend. We adapt. We come back stronger. Admiral Hayes addressed the human fleet. New target, though we're taking the fight to their doorstep. I want every ship we have ready to jump within 48 hours. His officers looked shocked. Sir, invading there, that's billions of civilians. We're not invading, Hayes clarified. We're blockading. We're going to surround their planet and cut them off from their empire. Then we'll see how eager they are to keep fighting when it's their families at risk. The human armada assembled. 30 ships had grown to 50 as new vessels completed construction. They weren't as advanced as ships individually, but they worked together with coordination that came from centuries of human military doctrine. Rachel Turner commanded the vanguard. Her success against Flagship had made her a legend among human forces. She stood on the Valiant's bridge, looking at the tactical display showing the route to the... This is it, she said to her crew. This is where we end the war, not with genocide, not with cruelty, but by making them understand that humanity cannot be bullied, cannot be intimidated, cannot be beaten. The fleet jumped to faster-than-light travel. Behind them on Earth, families watched the news broadcasts. Children who had lost parents, parents who had lost children, all of them waiting to see if the sacrifice would mean something. In a hospital on Mars, doctors worked to save Captain Jake. He had been recovered from the wreckage of his ship, barely alive. For 3 months he had been in a coma, his body broken but his heart still beating. His eyes opened. A nurse gasped and called for the doctor. "Where am I?" Jake whispered. "Mars Central Hospital," the nurse said gently. "You've been unconscious for 3 months, but you're safe now." "The war, what happened?" The nurse smiled. "We're winning, Captain, because of people like you, because you refused to give up." Jake closed his eyes, tears running down his face. Park and so many others from his crew had died, but their deaths had meant something. Humanity had, the galaxy had learned. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the home system. Before them lay the heart of the Empire, the birthplace of the species that had thought themselves superior. His voice came over the communication channels. He was on the surface, commanding the defense fleet. "Humans, you have come far, fought well, but this is our home. We will defend it with everything we have." Admiral Hayes responded from Earth via instant communication relay. "Commander, you started this war by killing our children. You escalated it by bombing our civilians. Now your choices have led us here. You have one opportunity to end this without further bloodshed. What are your terms?" "Unconditional surrender, complete disarmament, war crime trials for those who ordered attacks on civilians, and reparations to every human family that lost someone because of your empire's aggression." The communication went silent. On the billions held their breath. Their invincible empire had been brought to its knees. Their mighty fleets were scattered, and now humans surrounded their home, ready to do to them what they had done to New Hope. In the council chamber, every species watched and waited. This was the moment that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. Would they show mercy or take revenge? Lisa stood with Emma and watching the same broadcast. "What will we choose?" Emma whispered. "We'll choose what makes us human," Lisa said. "We'll choose what's right." On the Valiant's bridge, Rachel received a private communication from Admiral Hayes. "Captain Turner, if refuses surrender, you have authorization to demonstrate our capability, but target only military installations. No civilian casualties." Commander stood on the command deck of the Planetary Defense Center, staring at the display showing 50 human ships surrounding his. Behind him, his officers waited for orders. Beyond the walls, 3 billion civilians went about their lives, unaware of how close they were to annihilation. "Sir, we have 400 defense platforms and 200 ships in orbit," his tactical officer reported. "We can fight." Thought about the past 3 months. Every battle they had fought, they had lost. Every strategy they tried, humans countered. Every advantage they possessed, humans neutralized. The empire that had conquered 12 species over 1,000 years had been dismantled in 90 days by a species they had dismissed as primitive. "And if we fight?" asked quietly. "We will die, sir, but we will die with honor." Looked at the young officer, so eager, so certain, just like had been when he ordered the attack on New Hope. He had thought it would be easy, a quick demonstration of strength. The humans would see power and surrender. Instead, he had awakened something terrible. "Honor," repeated. "Is there honor in sending 3 billion civilians to their deaths because I was too proud to admit I made a mistake?" The officer stared at him, shocked. Commanders did not admit mistakes. A new communication came through, not from Admiral Hayes, but from a human who had been pulled from the wreckage of the USS Defender. Captain Jake, somehow alive, spoke from a hospital bed on Mars. "Commander, 3 months ago you destroyed my ship, killed my crew, good people who were just doing their jobs trying to stop a war." Jake's voice was weak but steady. "I hated you for that. I wanted revenge. I wanted to see your empire burn." Listened, expecting threats. "But then I spent 3 months in a coma," Jake continued. "And when I woke up, I learned what humanity had done, how we fought, how we won. And I realized something. If we destroy your world the way you destroyed New Hope, we become no better than you. We prove that the only difference between us is who has more power." The young captain paused, gathering strength. "So I'm asking you to surrender, not because we can't destroy you. We can, but because this galaxy has seen enough death. Your people don't deserve to die for your mistakes, just like our people didn't deserve to die for being in your way." The transmission ended. Stood silent, the weight of billions of lives pressing down on him. His entire culture was built on strength, on dominance. Surrender was unthinkable, weakness was shameful. But was it weaker to fight a battle you couldn't win, or to save your people when you still could? "Open a channel," said finally. "To the human fleet and to the Galactic Council, I want everyone to witness this." His officers moved quickly. Within seconds, face appeared on screens across the galaxy. On Earth, families gathered to watch. On the council station, representatives leaned forward. On human ships, crews held their breath. "I am commander of the Empire," he began, his voice heavy with defeat and something else. "Regret. 3 months ago, I ordered the destruction of the human colony at New Hope. I killed 3,000 innocent people because I believed humanity was weak, because I thought strength meant the ability to take what I wanted without consequence." He paused, and when he spoke again, his voice cracked. "I was wrong. Strength is not measured in weapons or ships. It is measured in the courage to do what is right, even when it is difficult. Humanity has shown more strength in 3 months than my empire showed in 1,000 years." On Earth, people watched in stunned silence as the commander continued. "The human fleet could destroy my world. They have every right to take revenge for what I did. But instead, they offer terms. They offer a chance for peace," straightened his posture. "Therefore, on behalf of the Empire, I accept unconditional surrender. We will disarm. We will face justice for our crimes, and we will work to rebuild what we destroyed." The galaxy erupted. Some species cheered, others expressed shock. But everyone understood that history had just turned. Admiral Hayes spoke from Earth, his image appearing besides. "The surrender is accepted. All military forces will stand down immediately. Human ships will begin coordinating with authorities to ensure an orderly transition." He looked directly at the camera at the billions watching across known space. "Today, humanity proves something important. We are capable of great violence when threatened. We can wage war with skill and determination that frightens even the oldest species. But we are also capable of mercy, of choosing peace when we could choose revenge. Lisa watched from the council station, tears streaming down her face. Emma stood beside her, equally emotional. They had witnessed humanity at its worst and its best. Approached them. Your species continues to surprise me. I thought I had seen everything in 3,000 years, but this... The ancient matriarch shook her head. The precursors feared humanity's wrath, but I think they would have admired humanity's wisdom even more. The next weeks were chaotic but hopeful. Human ships maintained position around the, not as conquerors, but as peacekeepers. Military forces began surrendering their weapons under human supervision. Rachel Turner's Valiant was assigned to coordinate the disarmament of orbital defense platforms. She worked alongside officers who, days before, would have tried to kill her. Now they followed her instructions, grudgingly respectful of the human who had defeated their flagship. "You fight differently than us," one officer said while they worked. "We never understood your tactics." Rachel smiled. That was the point. Humans learned long ago that if you fight on your enemy's terms, you're already half defeated, so we changed the terms. On the Foster's Marines provided security while diplomats worked out details of the peace treaty. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Soldiers trained to destroy were now protecting the people they had been ready to fight. Danny Cole stood guard outside a civilian hospital. Children played nearby, kids who looked strange to his human eyes but laughed and played the same as children everywhere. He thought about Amy, about how she would never play again because of this war. A child approached him, curious about the human soldier. "Are you going to hurt us?" the child asked in broken but understandable English. Danny knelt down to the child's level. "No, we're here to make sure nobody gets hurt anymore. The war is over." "Why did the war happen?" It was a simple question with a complicated answer. Because adults made bad choices, but now we're trying to make better ones. Sophie Martinez worked around the clock in a hospital, teaching their doctors human medical techniques while learning from them in return. Medicine had no sides. Suffering was suffering, regardless of species. "Your people could have killed us all," a doctor said while they worked together to save a patient. "Why show mercy?" "Because that's what makes us human," Sophie replied. "Not our ability to wage war, our choice to show compassion even to those who hurt us." The Galactic Council convened to formalize the new peace. Lisa stood before them, no longer just representing Earth, but helping to shape the galaxy's future. "The war between humanity and the Empire is over," she announced. "But more importantly, we have an opportunity to ensure such conflicts never happen again. We propose the Nexus Accords, a new framework for galactic law." She outlined the terms: rules of warfare that protected civilians, mechanisms for peaceful dispute resolution, and crucially, a peacekeeping force to prevent aggressive expansion. "Humanity will provide the core of this peacekeeping force," Lisa continued. "Not because we seek power, but because we've proven we can fight when necessary and show mercy when possible. We'll share our technology and tactics to ensure the galaxy remains safe." The diplomat who had criticized human warfare methods stood up. "And if humanity decides to use this force for conquest, what stops you from becoming the next empire?" Jake entered the chamber, still recovering but determined to be present. He walked slowly to stand beside Lisa. "I'll tell you what stops us," Jake said. We remember every person we lost, every family torn apart, every child who will never grow up. War isn't glorious to us. It's not something we celebrate. It's a terrible necessity that leaves scars that never fully heal." He looked around the chamber at the assembled representatives. "My crew died buying time for Earth to prepare. Thousands of humans sacrificed everything to stop the... And yes, we won, but winning a war doesn't erase the cost. It doesn't bring back the dead. It doesn't heal the wounds." Emma stepped forward with her research. "The precursors left their warning because they understood something fundamental about humanity. We're capable of incredible violence, but we're also capable of incredible growth. Every mistake we make, we learn from. Every tragedy shapes us. We don't fight because we want to. We fight because we have to. And the moment we don't have to, we choose peace." The vote was called. Species after species voted to accept the Nexus Accords. Even the remnant government voted in favor, recognizing that the new system would prevent future tragedies. stood to make a final statement. For 3,000 years, I have watched species rise and fall. I have seen empires built on conquest crumble under their own weight. I have witnessed wars that accomplished nothing but suffering. She looked at the human delegation. Today, I have seen something different. A species that could have chosen revenge but chose justice. That could have demanded subjugation but offered partnership. The ancient matriarch pulled up the precursor warning. My ancestors told us to never provoke humanity, and they were right. But I will add something to their wisdom. Humanity provoked is a storm that cannot be stopped. But humanity at peace is a force for unity that can change the galaxy forever. 6 months after the war began, a memorial was unveiled on Earth. 3,000 names were carved into black stone. The victims of New Hope, the first casualties of a war that should never have happened. Admiral Hayes stood before the memorial with Jake, now promoted and healed. Around them, families of the dead gathered to remember. They didn't die in vain, Hayes said quietly. Because of them, the galaxy learned. Because of their sacrifice, we have peace. But they still died, Jake said, pain in his voice. Children who should be alive, scientists who should be making discoveries, all gone because one species thought might made right. Yes, and we carry that weight, we always will. Hayes placed a hand on Jake's shoulder. But we also carry the responsibility to make sure it never happens again. That's why we built the peacekeeping force, why we shared our technology, why we chose mercy over revenge. Across the galaxy, changes were taking shape. Human ships patrolled former territory, working alongside reformed peacekeepers. Rachel Turner commanded the flagship of the new Galactic Fleet, training officers from 40 different species in combined tactics. Foster established a military academy where Marines from multiple worlds learned from each other. Danny Cole became an instructor, teaching young soldiers not just how to fight, but when to show mercy. Sophie Martinez founded a medical exchange program. Doctors from across the galaxy studied together, sharing techniques and knowledge. The hospital on the became a model for cross-species cooperation. On the council station, Lisa was elected as the first human head of the Galactic Council. Her first act was to establish a cultural exchange program. Humans would learn from alien species, and aliens would learn about Earth. Emma's research into the precursors was published across the galaxy. The ancient warning was no longer just a mysterious text, but an understood message. Humanity was dangerous when provoked, but valuable when befriended. Commander faced trial for his war crimes. The court was mixed, with judges from both human and non-human species. He was found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment, but not execution. Humanity had argued against the death penalty, saying that revenge was not justice. In his cell received a visitor. Jake sat across from him, 2 veterans of a war that had changed everything. "Why did you come?" asked. "Because I needed to see you, not as an enemy but as a person who made a terrible choice and has to live with it." Jake paused. "I wanted you to know that I don't hate you anymore. I don't forgive what you did, but I understand that you're living with the consequences, and that's punishment enough." Looked at the young human captain. "Your species is strange. You fight with such fury, then show such mercy. I don't understand you." "Most days we don't understand ourselves," Jake admitted. "But that's humanity. We're contradictions, violent and peaceful, aggressive and compassionate. We do terrible things and wonderful things, sometimes on the same day. The key is choosing which part of ourselves we want to define us." Years passed. The Nexus Accords became the foundation of galactic law. The peacekeeping force prevented 3 potential wars through diplomacy backed by credible force. Human technology advanced the galaxy's science. Alien wisdom enriched human culture. On the anniversary of New Hope's destruction, humans across the galaxy paused to remember. It was a day of mourning, but also of reflection. The tragedy had led to change. Death had led to peace. Lisa stood in the council chamber, now decorated with symbols from 40 species working together. She thought about the journey from that first warning to this moment of unity. Joined her the ancient matriarch, moving slower now, but still sharp. "Your species changed the galaxy, just as the precursors predicted." "We didn't want to change it this way," Lisa said. "We wanted peace from the beginning." But sometimes peace requires strength to establish it. Sometimes mercy requires proving you could choose cruelty but choose not to. Looked at the symbols of the united species. The elders cautioned against provoking humanity. Now I add my own caution. The wise do not provoke humanity, but the truly wise invite humanity to stand beside them. On Earth, children learned about the war in history classes. They studied not just the battles but the choices, the decision to fight, the decision to win, and most importantly, the decision to show mercy. In a classroom in New Geneva, a teacher asked her students what they thought humanity's greatest achievement was during the war. A young girl raised her hand. "We won without becoming monsters. We fought to protect people, not conquer them. And when we won, we helped our enemies instead of destroying them." The teacher smiled. "That's exactly right. The elders cautioned against provoking humanity because they feared our wrath. But the real lesson is that humanity's wrath serves a purpose. We fight for something. We fight to protect. And when the fight is over, we build instead of destroy." The galaxy had changed forever, not just because humanity proved it could wage war effectively, but because humanity proved it could wage peace just as effectively. The empire was gone, but the people remained, now partners in galactic security. Enemies had become allies, fear had become respect. And somewhere in the depths of space, in ruins that had stood for millions of years, the precursor warning remained. A caution to future generations: never provoke humanity, because humanity unleashed is unstoppable, but humanity at peace is invaluable. The galaxy had learned its lesson, and the world had changed forever. "Understood, sir." The minutes ticked by, the galaxy watched, and humanity waited to see if they would choose wisdom or pride. The stage was set, the Valiant moved into position, its flagship advanced to meet it. Around them, both fleets watched and waited. Rachel stood on her bridge, calm and ready. "All crew to battle stations. Let's show them why the elders were right to warn against provoking us." The battle began, and the galaxy watched as humanity proved once again that superior technology meant nothing against superior tactics and an unbreakable will to survive. "Sir," Helen said quietly, "that's almost our entire fleet. If we lose them, Earth will be defenseless." Hayes looked at her with eyes like steel. "We won't lose them, because every single crew member is going into battle knowing that they kill children. And when humans fight to protect our young, we don't lose. We can't afford to." The orders went out. Across Earth and her colonies, humanity mobilized for total war. The thought they had won an easy victory. They had destroyed a research station and crushed a small fleet. But they had also awakened something that had been sleeping, something the elders had warned about, something that should never have been provoked. Humanity was coming, and the galaxy was about to learn why the precursors had been afraid. And fire. And somehow, those primitive humans had frightened the most advanced species in galactic history enough to leave a permanent warning. Emma found one more fragment of text. It was badly damaged, but she could make out a few words. "Persistence incarnate will sacrifice everything. Make war not with technology but with will. Do not give them cause." She sat back, her hands shaking. They had given humanity cause. They had murdered 3,000 innocent people, including children. And now they were about to learn why the elders had cautioned against provoking humanity.